In this session, we will see how the heart is repaired. The objective is that we have already seen what goes wrong with the heart, and here we will see that when something goes wrong, how do we go about treating that particular problem. We have already seen that if there is a blockage in any of the coronary arteries is the artery which supplies blood to the heart. If there is any blockage in that, then a certain part of the heart muscle is not able to receive the adequate amount of oxygen and nutrition, and therefore it gets infarcted. This situation produces angina or subsequently myocardial infarction. Now we will see the three most famous words related to the heart problems: angiography, angioplasty, or bypass surgery. I will start with angiography first. At the very outset, I would like to inform that angiography is meant for diagnosis. It is not a treatment by itself. In this diagram, you can see on the left side there is a human figure, and on the right what you can see is the result of an angiography. Now during angiography, what we do is we insert a catheter. Catheter is a tube-like structure from the, as you can see in this diagram, from the thigh region into one of the major arteries, and this catheter is pushed inside so that it reaches the heart. Once it reaches the heart, a dye is injected through this, and this dye is radio opaque. Radio opaque means when we do an X-ray, the X-ray can detect the presence of that dye. Now since that dye is moving in the arteries of the heart, wherever there is a block, the dye will not reach there, or it will show a indentation. This particular thing is picked up through an end of a radiograph, and in that you can clearly see where is the block. As you can see in the right sided diagram, we have made a red circle, and you can make out that the dye has not reached there, and therefore that is the place where there is a blockage. So angiography effectively detects where is the blockage in the coronary arteries, and this helps us in subsequently treating the person, because then we know where the problem lies. The next most important thing to talk about is angioplasty, or technically known as PTCA. Once again, on the left side you can see the human figure. There is a catheter which has been placed and has reached the heart, a very similar thing that you saw earlier in the angiography slide. But here what we do, through a catheter we push a structure which goes and reaches the place where there is the blockage. This structure is a kind of a balloon. It can be inflated from outside. So once it reaches the area, as you can see in the right sided diagram, there is a blockage there, and once that deflated balloon kind of structure reaches inside that place, it is then inflated, and when it inflates, it traumatically breaks down that blockage and opens up the artery for the free flow of the blood. Angioplasty has the inherent disadvantage that after some time the chances of re-stenosis or the blockage occurring once again are rather high. Therefore it's not a permanent kind of a treatment. So initially we gave it a thought that how can the results of angioplasty made to stay longer. So therefore this particular invention known as a stent came in. A stent is basically a wire mesh which is initially in a collapsed state, and it is inserted into the place where there is a blockage, and there it is made just like a balloon. It's inflated, the mesh is made to open up. It opens up and it then keeps the lumen patent. It keeps the particular artery's blocked part remain open for a longer period, which otherwise would have had a tendency to get re-stenosed. So basically a stent, or even a medicated stent which has certain medicines which are being released, this particular stent remains there and prolongs the life of the angioplasty. And lastly, let's talk about CABG, or the coronary artery bypass graft, popularly known as the bypass surgery. As you can see in the left sided diagram, the arteries have been blocked, and therefore adequate amount of blood is not reaching the distal parts of the heart. The aim here is to create another pathway for the blood to go, and that is known as the bypass. We will effectively bypass the blocked area. Therefore a vein or an artery is taken from somewhere else in the body, and it is placed here in such a way, as you can see in the right sided diagram, the green structure is the bypass, and this bypass has been placed in such a manner that it is able to provide blood to those parts of the heart which were earlier unable to get blood because of the blockage. So you will appreciate that in this particular operation we do not touch the blocked arteries. Instead we provide a new artery to provide blood. So to conclude this session, we have seen that angiography is meant for diagnosis of the blockage, whereas angioplasty and bypass operations are meant to provide blood to those parts of area which were not receiving blood. Angioplasty is only the opening up of the blockage, while bypass is bypassing the particular blockage. We do not touch the blockage but provide a new pathway for the blood to reach those areas which were not receiving.